Thank you very much for inviting me today for this talk. I am very happy to be here. So I have been studying about green technology for more than 8 years already, and it is a very passionate area of mine. So today I do hope that I'll be able to share my knowledge and my interest with you. Okay, so let's move. If you have any questions during my presentation, feel free to actually put up your hand and ask. So it's easier for me to remember, I think for you to remember also the questions when I'm going through the presentation. Okay? So today, for the first talk I'll be talking on is mega trends and innovating towards zero. Okay? Now, this is the agenda for today. Okay, first of all, I'll talk about climate change. Is it like conclusive that it is really happening? Okay, just a short introduction. Next will be an introduction to mega trends. So, Frost and Sullivan, in 2011, we came up with mega trends, all the major trends that will influence how we live our life, how we do business, how we socialize, and so on. So some of the mega trends involve trends towards green. Okay, so the focus of today is towards the green mega trends. Then I will talk about the 3 main mega trends affecting green. One is, mega trend number 1 is low carbon economy, and that is already happening right now. It is already influencing how business do their work, how you actually, the kind of products that you come up with. So that is for low carbon economy. Megatrend 2 is smart cities and smart infrastructure. And this is a megatrend that a lot of cities and countries are moving towards. It is not yet available totally, but this is one of the targets. Okay, it's a megatrend that we are moving towards. And finally, the long-term megatrend is to innovate towards zero. Okay, so this is the content of my presentation today. Let's move on. Now, climate change. Is it happening? Can I see, first of all, how many of you agree that climate change, is it happening? Okay, not everyone is agreed. Okay. Now, there is actually 2 questions. One is climate change happening? Second question is, do you think human is the cause of climate change? Yes or no? Yes. Also about less than half. Okay. So let's move on to see what is the evidence towards climate change. Now, first of all, okay, I'll just like to tell a story about when I was in school. So at that time when I was in high school, I was learning that the current CO2 emissions in the atmosphere was at 0.03%. Do you remember, like high school, you have like, oxygen is 21% and nitrogen is 78%, and then you have 1% of all the other gases, of which carbon dioxide is, to me, at the time I learned in high school in Malaysia, was 0.03%. Now, what is interesting is that as of now, the concentration is 393, which means it is now 0.04%. Which is actually an increase from the time I was in high school, which is not that long ago. Okay, it's about a 25% increase in what I learned from school. Okay, and this is the highest it's been for the last 800,000 years. Okay, that's what scientific evidence indicates. Next, Earth's climate has changed a lot in recent years. The last decade, 2001 to 2010, has some of the hottest years on record. Okay, the atmosphere has, the Earth has not been, the average temperature on Earth has not been so hot before. Now, the scientific consensus is that it is largely irreversible. That is the scary bit. Okay, Meaning that from 0.03%, we now reach 0.04%. There is no way for us to go back to 0.03%. Okay, that is actually a scientific conclusion. You cannot go back. All right. Now I'll just talk a little bit. I was actually asked a very, like small children. They sometimes I got this question from my nephew. Some very interesting questions, that come from young people. Is there actually any evidence to indicate that carbon dioxide actually, higher concentrations of carbon dioxide actually increases temperature? Do you actually know of any experiments that when you have higher concentration of CO2, it actually increases temperature? Now, one study that indicated if you do like in a classroom, you have like say a box, all right? You increase the level of CO2 in that box. The temperature within, if it's exposed to the sun, it actually indicates that the higher, when you have higher CO2 within that box, the temperature actually does go up. Okay, so it's actually there is an experiment to indicate that even at the lab scale, CO2, higher concentrations of CO2 actually does increase temperature. Now the thing is that, but it's so small, 0.03% to 0.04%. It is such a small one. Does it actually affect? Now the thing is that the greenhouse effect is that, okay, you have your sun. So what happens is that normally you will get reflected, right? All your sun, all your heat will get reflected. But what happens is that when you have a lot more greenhouse gas in the atmosphere, CO2 is the largest contributor, but there is also other gases that contribute toward greenhouse effect. Another big one is actually methane. So what happens is that now about half the solar radiation is absorbed by the Earth's surface, and then it gets warmer. Okay. Now, this is actually, there's an observatory in Mauna Loa. This is kept by the US, it's a US observatory. It's located in a very isolated area in Hawaii. Okay? Now, they started taking the readings since 1960. And as you can see, it's going up. Alright? So like I said, it started off at closer to 300. But now it is at 393. And this is in the last 40 years. Okay? So, and this one is undeniable because, you take readings. If you are a scientist, you just take readings. This is what it shows. Now, what are the common sources of CO2? Alright? Now, the main one is actually the use of fossil fuel. And we use fossil fuel for mainly two reasons. One is to power your car, your automotive, your automobiles, your scooter, your trucks, your lorries. And the second one is for generation of electricity. Okay? And this one includes like for coal, the burning of coal for generation of electricity. So this is about more than half is for fossil fuel use. Second is for deforestation. The largest contributor is for deforestation. And this one is because due to large population growth, we need the land. So a lot of developing countries is starting, the deforestation is happening in order to provide land for the people to live and to grow food and so on. Okay? Now, the third one is methane, about 14.3%. And the rest is also considered as other greenhouse gases, but they are much lower. Okay? This is other sources of CO2. Now, what are the main the industries that contribute towards CO2? So energy supply is about 1/4. Transport is 13%. Residential and commercial buildings is about 8%. Industry, 20%. It's quite high. Agriculture, 13.5%. Forestry and wastewater. Okay. So this is indication. 1970 it was 28.7. Okay. And then now it's 49. The tons of CO2. Okay. So next. Now this is all the dry science I'm giving you first. Okay. So continued greenhouse gas emissions would induce many changes that would very likely be larger than those observed. So this is the change in temperature. In 2020 to 2029, it will be a lot of the temperature change will happen in the northern hemisphere. That's why you have more severe snow, more severe droughts, more severe flooding, more severe and so on. Stuff like natural disasters such as like earthquake, volcano, that one is not influenced by greenhouse gas, but other natural disasters such as like flooding, drought, snowstorm, higher, hotter temperatures, colder temperatures, that will be some of the impact. So the change in temperature is now between 1 to 2, okay, for some of the higher latitudes. And from 2090 to 2099, there will be overall higher temperatures. Okay. Another area is that there will be sea level. So this one is in millimeter. So what they are measuring. So in 1994, this is what we consider to be the baseline for sea levels. And by 2008, it had already risen. The rate is 3.5 millimeter per year. And what does this actually indicate? For countries that are like low-lying, this will indicate a higher incidence of flooding. Okay, so this is one of the impact. Now, like I mentioned just now, so we have now reached from 320 parts per million to now 393. And there is no way for us to actually go back. Okay, it's irreversible. What can happen now, the scenario is that the CO2 will continue rising, all right? And at one point, it will stabilize. That's because when all the countries in the world are, are contributing towards lower carbon economy, and hence they will work together to control the CO2 emissions. But at the moment, it will continue. The scenario is that it will continue to rise, all right? So now, the only thing that we can do is that to achieve the stable period as fast as possible, okay, and not let it continue rising. So the main technologies for reducing carbon dioxide. The first one is you need to have increased efficiency, right? 38%. You change fuel, meaning like say for instance you are using now gasoline, you change to biofuel. Alright, so that is end-use fuel switching. This one, end-use fuel and electricity efficiency. That means all throughout the chain, you have efficiency. You reduce your emissions all throughout the chain in terms of efficiency. Third one is power generation efficiency and fuel switching, 5%. One scenario is that you move towards nuclear, which I heard for Taiwan is not an option. Okay, 6%. Increase of renewables, and a lot of countries in the world is also switching towards renewable. Europe, one country that is chasing renewable like crazy is China. Okay, they are going very high into solar and wind renewables. And finally is carbon capture and storage, which is 19%. Okay, so this is the scenario that we are talking about, right? So that's the dry science. Let's move on to what are some of the mega trends that is now, because of this, it is influencing some of the trends in how we do business and how, factories make products and so on. Okay, so let's introduction to mega trends. Okay, so what is a mega trend? What we define, Frost and Sullivan, we define a mega trend is a global trend. A trend that is sustained and macroeconomic forces, so which means it is continuous. It is not a trend that will disappear in the next few years. All right? So it will impact business, economy, society, culture, and personal lives. Okay? And then it will also be one of the influencing factors for change. All right? Now, why do mega trends matter? So it has impact for different industries. So analysis of these mega trends form an important component of a company's future strategy, development and innovation process. So these are the impact on the key functions: how you market your products, okay, how you market and how you market and sell your products, R&D, budget spending, how you actually develop your new products and do your R&D, product planning and development, how you plan for new products, technology planning, innovation scouting. Okay, so this is how the megatrends, the impact, it will impact all of this. So what are the top three I mentioned just now, the megatrends? First one that is already here, low carbon economy. Okay. Second one is the move towards smart cities and smart infrastructure. And the third one is innovating towards zero. Okay. Let's move on to the first one. Now, what are the drivers for low carbon economy? So some of the drivers is like, the concern for climate change. Some is consumer demand and attitude. Legislation, a lot of countries are pushing towards green. Opportunity for profits and consequently greater shareholder value. Need to reduce dependence on fossil fuel, especially like in the automotive industry. So now it has driven the market for biofuel as well as alternative fuel vehicle. So in the last few years, if you notice, there has been a very big push towards more efficient cars, either hybrid cars, electric cars, and so on. So, and the reason for this is because one is also concern for the environment, for green. The other one is also because the increasing price for fossil fuel. All right. Who would have thought, like, say, 5-6 years ago, that the price of crude oil can go above $100 US? Nobody actually anticipated. When I was doing my master's in 2004, at that time the price of crude oil was at 50 and 60. And people thought the ceiling would actually be only at 80 at that time. And now it's already reaching towards, we are going towards 120, 150, and so on. So another one is that, so focus is on improving fuel economy, and making your vehicle lighter, right? Most major chemical companies have also organized sustainability programs. Chemical companies, energy companies. Now, what is the drive towards, say I'll just give an example, a case study, because Taiwan has a very big chemical industry. In the case of chemicals and materials, one, the drive towards low carbon is because of your high price of raw material, correct? So because of this constant volatility of prices, this is also causing some of the chemical companies around the world to move towards more stable raw materials with more stable prices. Second is increasing regulatory requirements. Third is price pressure from customers. So customers are not willing to pay actually extra for green. Okay? And third and fourth is changing competitive landscape. Now I'll just ask a question. This is an interesting one regarding consumer behavior towards green products. I'll just give an example. How many people here are actually willing to pay more for green? Okay, I'll give a scenario. This many people, alright? Say I want to buy a house. Okay, I want to buy a house. Now there is one house, let's say it is in the same location, side by side. One house is using all conventional building materials. Okay, the second house is equipped in all the conventional lighting, conventional heating, and so on. The second house is built from green material, green building material. It's using very efficient lighting, very efficient heating, and so on. Okay. Now the price difference between the both of them is 10%. Now what's the normal price of a house in Taipei? Can you give an average? No, the same location, side by side. The two houses is side by side. Okay, very high. Okay, let's say, can I say 500,000 US? More than that, 1 million US. Okay, 1 million US. So these two houses side by side, one is 1 million US, the other one is 1.1 million US. Now, if somebody said that the savings you will get from your greenhouse, you can get back your return on investment, say like in 5 to 7 years, which is the norm. Okay, some of it is until 10 years. Would you be willing to pay the extra 100,000 US for the greenhouse? How many put out your hand? Wow, okay. Because I asked this question in a lot of countries and they said no. Okay, I asked this question in Korea, I also asked it in Thailand, and they said, no, I will not pay the extra 10%. Even Malaysia is even worse. We do not even pay the extra for greener fuel. So, okay, I have to applaud, very good. I respect and admire your concern towards green. So, thank you very much. But what I'm saying is that at the moment, on the whole, most consumers are not willing to pay the extra 10% for the green. If, for instance, the price is exactly the same, 1 million and 1 million, but you are told that, oh, this house, the greenhouse, had all these nice features. If I'm the consumer, if it's the same price, then I will buy. But if it's extra 10%, a lot of consumers, I will say that maybe 8 out of 10 will not purchase, or 9 out of 10 will not purchase. Yes, question. The selling price, 10% of selling okay.
Of the construction cost in order to get a greenhouse.
Okay.
Then the total price in terms of selling price was not so much.
Okay.
Because the price, most of the price come from the land price. It's not from the construction cost.
From the construction cost.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's not consider then the cost of the land. I'm not considering the cost of the land because both is the same. It's just that so far as I know is that for any green product, if you come up with fuel, any green product, green material, green construction material, the price is usually 5 to 10% more. And that's why a subsidy is always required from the government to push for these products.
So it's easy for you to calculate the return on investment for the extra additional 10% of the construction cost. If you say that within 10 years you can get a payback for your extra 10% construction cost. Then this will more easy for the people to accept it. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I mean that's why this is some of the, because of all this kind of thinking, a lot of companies now have to come up with new ideas on how to sell their products. Especially if you are in the green, you have to come up with new ideas and new thinking in how to convince your customers to buy your product because it is greener. Correct? So this is the arguments that a lot of previously there was no requirement for all this, but because of all the mega trends towards this, there is now, that's why the push towards new marketing concepts, new the way how you do business concepts. Okay, one of the business models we talk, which actually is I will talk about later in the second mega trend, is the business concept of using pay as you use. Okay, but I'll move on. I'll talk about that in the second mega trend. But let's just move for this one. Now, what are the different technology and services segments? There are so much in with regards to low carbon economy. First, you have energy efficiency and the various renewable energy that is being used. Wind power, solar, biomass, energy storage, hydro, wave, geothermal. For emission reduction, you have advanced turbines, air pollution control, coal to gas, clean coal, carbon capture and storage. On the demand side, that means on the user side, green buildings, low energy appliance, building control, smart meter, smart homes, energy management. But what we are saying is that because of the mega trend towards green, all these are the new products that has emerged in the last 10 years. Prior to this, there was no need for any of this. So this is a mega trend that is already happening and will continue to happen. Environment and clean tech, you have about waste treatment, all the different alternative uses for your biogas, pyrolysis, gasification, how to reduce emissions, and on the demand side, waste to energy, water recycling, waste recycling, desalination. Urban infrastructure, so you have the introduction of biodiesel, ethanol, district heating and cooling, so on. So what the impact of this mega trend is that now there's an entire new industries that is being established. Now I'll just give a case study about smart buildings in 2020. What we are now familiar with is green buildings, and I heard that for Taiwan, you are actually among the biggest user for very efficient HVAC systems as well as for lighting. Okay, the trend is towards green, and next time it will be towards intelligent buildings, meaning that a building that can actually react towards changing parameters. Say for instance, if it's you have some intelligent concepts, it's for instance you have intelligent windows. If you have the solar, the sun is very bright, it will become transparent, so it will let light in. But say for instance that you require more light, then the lights will start to go on. Okay, these are all concepts that we are already, we might already know of. So, smart and green building can conserve resources, use energy efficiently, and create healthy occupied environments. Now, it will promote highly adaptable, sustainable, and cost-effective buildings. So the main one is, monitoring and control of energy-intensive systems such as HVAC and lighting. Now, the main opportunities in this area for green buildings is building automation, energy-efficient lighting, green HVAC, and integrated security. Now, in this case, I believe Taiwan is already very good in this area, what I've been told. The next one to move after green buildings will be the integration of the building and the electricity grid, smart grid. Okay, so you have fully networked systems that integrate data, voice, and video. Okay, on a single IP network, conserve resources such as energy, water, reduce emissions, and decrease waste. So you have you transform your conventional building to integrated buildings. This is now a sector that is experiencing extremely high growth. Okay, building automation, control and software, wireless sensor, demand response. Next, you talk about the smart grid. Advanced metering infrastructure, you have two-way communication. Offices, hospitals are selling excess energy back to the grid. This is the scenario, all right? Demand response, energy use can be shifted to off-peak hours. So the transformation is from conventional grid to energy internet, smart grid, right? So in the case of smart grid, if you were to ask me now, what is the most hottest investment area for energy around the world, the answer is actually the smart grid. One of the biggest investors for smart grid is China. It has even surpassed USA with regards to investment in smart grid. I do not have the numbers for 2011, but for 2010 they spent $7.9 billion. 7.9. That's bigger than some of the country's GDP. Okay, so it is the amount of money. The biggest developer for smart grid at the moment is China. I would have to say that smart grid will be a trend that will continue at least for the next 20 years, as all countries are changing from conventional to smart. Okay. Now, I'll just give a case study of how low carbon economy is impacting an industry. How is it that they are changing the way they do business? I'll give an example. It's for the chemicals industry. Okay. Now, for all the biggest chemical companies in the world, like say Dow, BASF, DuPont, and so on, 3M, the one big area is corporate sustainability. Integration of economic, social, and environmental considerations in strategic and their initiative. what these chemical companies have implemented in their own company is that they have realized that if you move towards green, in the long run, you actually save a lot of money. It makes better business sense. Okay? One is because you conserve your resources. You use less raw material, so you cut costs. You use less energy, and so you save a lot of money as well. And in the end, you have a product with very little toxic waste. So you save money in terms of treatment. So, and this is the idea that has now finally, which a lot of all the chemical companies have understood and they plan to implement. And all of the major ones, DSM, BASF, Dow, ExxonMobil, LG Chem, Mitsubishi, Kuraray, Teijin, Toray, so on. They have embraced this concept. And they are putting some of the. This is a survey of companies' sustainability practices, and they are focusing on certain areas. So the main one is energy efficiency. A lot of chemical companies around the world is focusing to reduce their energy consumption. So 56%. The first one. Second one is to come up with eco-efficient products. Right? More than half. Third one, most important sustainability practice is reduction of emissions. Fourth is to reduce waste and water consumption. Fifth is social and safety. And finally, the least important green practice is applying alternative energy. Okay. The main drive is towards energy efficiency and eco-efficient products. So that's why I'm saying that for low carbon economy, it has already impacted the chemical industry. And this is already some of the practices that they are already following. Okay? So sustainability is a key issue in the chemical industry, increasingly willing to commit greater resources to its cause. Now, the projects mostly is energy efficiency, emission reduction, and eco-efficient products. So altogether, there's actually a sustainability index that track the financial performance of leading sustainability-driven companies. Okay. Now, under management has grown steadily from 1999 to over 8 billion as of 2009. Okay. There is greater investor confidence and commitment towards sustainability. Now, one very interesting thing is that eco-efficient products. So among all the big chemical companies, they have already put into their company roadmap, their company plan, like for 2020, the top four, Dow, DuPont, BASF, what's the fourth one? Okay, I can't remember. That's one of the fourth. There are the top four companies. They have already indicated in their plans for 2020, in their entire product range, 40% of their products has to come from a sustainable resource. 40%. No longer will they be just relying on conventional petrochemicals. 40% will be chemicals that are made from sustainable resources. And that is their plan for 2020. Okay, the move towards green eco products. I'll just give provide a case study on Dow Chemicals. So this is their sustainability index. Is that this is how they report at Dow. Okay, they have actually a team of people that is directly reporting to the CEO, to the board of directors, all these statistics: energy efficiency savings, intensity of Kyoto greenhouse gases, injury and illness rate, cumulative product safety assessments. And all this has to be reported to the board of directors. Okay? So some of the 2015 goals is that as of 2015, 10% of sales is by product that are using sustainable chemistry. Achieve at least 3 breakthroughs that will significantly help solve world challenges. Okay, they have something very ambitious. Reduce greenhouse gas intensity by 2.5% per year. Reduce energy intensity by 25%. Publish product safety assessment for all products. Achieve individual community acceptance rating of 100%. Okay. Achieve on average 75% improvement of key indicators for environment, health and safety. So sustainability is a very big practice now for most of the major chemical companies, right? So if the statistics does not indicate that you are improving, that means a lot of people will get into trouble. All right. So these are the numbers. So for Dow, the main one is sustainable chemistry. These are their targets: breakthrough to world challenges, energy efficiency, addressing climate change, contributing to community success, product safety, local protection of human health and environment. Okay. So this is my conclusion. This is the final slide for Megatrend 1. I'll talk about second megatrend: the move towards smart cities and smart infrastructure. Now, what is the concept of a smart city? Meaning it is energy, city planning, and ICT will define the future, right? So ICT, energy, planning. These three elements will define the smart mobility of the future. So in terms of energy, what is the main elements? Renewable energy, smart grid infrastructure. For city planning, what are some of the planning towards a smart city? Electric vehicle charging, smart grid, bus rapid transit, parking infrastructure, congestion charging. In ICT, so you have the increase of telematics, navigation, smart metering, internet technologies. Next time your car will be as connected to the internet as your phone. Okay? So this is the concept of a smart city. By 2020, the concept will be green will be replaced with smart. You have smart cities, smart technology, smart infrastructure, smart hospitals, smart cloud, smart grid, smart building, smart mobility, smart material, smart bandages. Smart bandages actually what it refers to is a bandage that has the medicine already in it. You put it on your skin and then it naturally releases over time the medicine to heal your wound. Okay. Smartphones and smart meters. Okay. So the whole concept is that yes, green will be replaced with smart. So I think because of this, we are also putting a very high emphasis on our young people to grow smarter, so that they can cope with all these smart technologies. Okay. Now, what is a smart? What is the outlook for a mega city in 2020? Right? You have smart buildings. You have green buildings now, but the move will be towards smart buildings. Smart technology. Your smartphone. Not only next time your phone will be smart, your house will be smart. Your car will be smart. All the items that you are using, a lot of them will be based on smart technology. I think Apple has just recently released their Apple TV, I think. Yeah. So they are getting more and more smart mobile devices. Satellite towns, smart cars, yes. Smart grid, smart energy, smart infrastructure. So everything, the passage of information between systems will become a very important element. Okay. So like for instance now, let's talk about what is an element for a smart car. Your car now, I think it actually has more electronics than perhaps I don't know how much compared to maybe like 20 years ago. The percentage of electronics in your car now is actually much higher. I think maybe there's about 4 or 5 times more. Okay, some cars can practically drive itself. Google has actually manufactured a few cars that can actually drive by itself. Okay, so it is the concept of the smart car is that it will have navigation, your GPS. You just insert where you want to go, and it will drive you there. Okay, there is even the concept of the future driving is that it will be accident free. All right, so meaning that first of all you don't have to drive it. Second is that it will be able to. The scenario is that the cars, everybody will be equipped with their own sensors and will be able to avoid each other, so there will be no accidents. Okay. So I remember there was some of the discussion about this was that. If you have no accidents, what will happen to the insurance industry? because car accident insurance is like the biggest money maker for the insurance industry. Then I think the consensus was that if the insurance industry, they will somehow find another way to make money. Okay, so but the concept is that you will have the goal is moving towards accident-free cars, right? Now, how many mega cities will there be by 2020? There will be over 40 global cities to be smart city in 2020. More than 50% of smart cities of 2025 will be from Europe and North America. China and India will also see over 50 new sustainable cities. That means they are building cities based on the green concept from zero, starting from scratch. So these are all the different, Singapore is already considered to be a very green city. Yeah, right? Now, one very good case study of a smart city, Amsterdam. Now, one of the concept of a smart city, what I remember learning during my master's days is that the ideal green living, smart living, will be that wherever that you are living, you can access all kind of your facilities and infrastructure within walking distance. Meaning that you don't even need to have any kind of transport whatsoever. Your hospital is within walking distance, your banks, your school, your entertainment, your work, everything will be done within walking distance. And among all the cities in the world, Amsterdam is the closest to that already. If you've been to Amsterdam, it's actually a very walkable city. A lot of people also cycle. Okay, the ideal greenest and smartest city is that you walk and you cycle to all the places that you want to go. Now, what is some of them like? As of now, 39% already commute by bicycle, 40%. All right. Some of it is there's more than 400 kilometers of dedicated cycle roads for bicycles, and they're already producing electric bicycle taxis. 200 in terms of electric vehicle, 200 charging stations by 2012, 10,000 electric vehicles by 2015. Okay, there is encourage car sharing. Now, one of the business models for future transport, what they say about your personal car. Okay, in the ICT, in the phone business, all right, the biggest growth in market share is to do with prepaid. Okay. Meaning that you only pay for what you use. You prepay a little bit, you use so much, and then you pay again. Okay, not what is losing out is postpaid. The same thing is happening now. The new concept for doing business with cars is that you pay as you drive. Okay, now what happens is that everybody buys a car, and then after that you use it for how many years? But that means you have to come up with the initial investment, everything 100%. At the start. The business concept of the future will be that you actually lease the car. You pay, the car you don't actually own the car, but you pay for the car as how much you use it. So for instance, for this month I drive 400 kilometers, so I pay that much. And this is actually there are already some companies who are introducing this concept, and this concept is actually very loved by the younger community because they are very familiar with pay as you use. Okay, so that is some of the ideas with regards to say car sharing. That means the car you use is that, okay, I go from A to B, I leave my car there, another person will use that car and go on. So you only pay for what you are using. Right? Now, third is cheaper parking slots for public transit stations, yearly reduction of parking space and increase of tariffs inside the city, the speed limit of 30 kilometers per hour, alright, makes bicycles faster. Okay, they're putting 30 kilometers per hour speed limit. So 154 power connections to charge automobiles. Smart commute to work. So 25 multinational companies have signed to reduce home-to-work car miles by 10%. Incentive or free bicycles to employees. Free and protected bike parks at offices to encourage bicycle use. and work from home initiatives. This is what the businesses are actually promoting. Right? Smart home. 1,200 existing houses to adopt smart meters, energy-saving appliances, and smart displays. A smart grid to enable interaction between the house and the grid. Smart meters and decentralized energy generation by building integrated PV, BIPV. Smart office buildings. ITO Tower is setting the use of various energy-saving technologies. Okay. Smart building to feature design that absorb natural light and air from the environment. Smart public space. So a popular shopping street downtown with 130 shops is to feature smart meter and energy-efficient street lighting technologies. Tram stops made sustainable with solar power display and billboard. Solar power garbage bins with built-in compactors to reduce the trip rate of garbage. So these are some of the initiatives that is being pursued by Amsterdam for the move towards smart city. Okay. So any questions so far? Otherwise, I'll move on to Megatrend 3. Okay. So the third trend, and this one is the furthest long-term goal, is to innovate towards zero. Alright? Now, one idea is that a lot of people at the moment when we think about innovating towards zero is that it is zero carbon emission. And that is actually not the full concept for innovating towards zero. What is the meaning of a zero concept is that first, you have zero waste or emissions from factories. You have zero emission from cars, zero crime rate, zero accidents on roads, zero defects in products, zero debt, zero breaches of security, and complete recyclability from household, which is using the cradle-to-cradle concept. This is actually the proper definition of innovating towards zero. It is not just zero carbon emission, it also means zero defects, zero breaches of security and safety, zero crime. Right? This is, of course, the ideal world. It is, of course, it is what cities have set for themselves to achieve the target. But the reality, of course, it might be different. But this is the idea that that is the long-term future, the ideal world in which we shall be living. Okay. Now, with regards to energy, what are the zero emission technologies in power generation? So one is wind. This one is for the global numbers, to account for 1.9 million megawatt of electricity by 2020. Solar PV, so to increase from 21,000 in 2020 to 630,000. Third generation biofuel, we are talking about algae biofuels, which will be the largest biofuel category, accounting for 40 billion of the gallons of biofuels produced. Okay. Geothermal energy, share of geothermal is to increase, and ocean energy people will start to explore ocean energy. 10% of the world's electricity needs by 2020. Okay, so these are some of the zero emission technologies that is being pursued. I understand from some of my meetings in Taiwan that this is not possible. This is not possible. This one is also not very possible, because this one starting to explore, and this one is also not possible because you don't have the land for the algae as well. So in this place, I think the metaphor is you are stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I'm quite sure with the inventiveness of Taiwanese people, you will be able to come up with a good solution, right? So anyway, this is actually, just nice. I just finished my presentation. Do you have any questions? Thank you. So, but I think presenting this presentation, I've done it for like several countries. Taiwan, I have to admit really, from all the meetings I've had, you have definitely a higher awareness about green. I have to admit my own country, Malaysia, is very far behind. Unfortunately, yes. So, I hope that,